Hello, good evening, and welcome to our front. This is the time we get to give you the latest updates with the developments on the Ayawaso Wuogon by-election. You do know that the executive president, by now you'll be aware, president acting capacity, the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, with the consent of President Nana Akufo-Addo, has actually set up a three-member committee. This committee is to get to the bottom of the Ayawaso West Wuogon event, and there's a statement issued to that effect. Statement signed by the Director of Communications at the Office of the President stipulates that this commission was set up to inquire into the events of violence which occurred during the by-election held in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency on the 31st of January 2019. The commission is composed of Justice Emil Short, chairperson, Professor Mrs. Harriet Mensah Bonsu is a member, Mr. Patrick K. Champon. And I'm sure you know that Justice Emil Short has been at Strat for a very long time. In fact, he was one of the leading and foremost commissioners of that particular commission. Professor Harriet Mensah Bonsu is a criminal law expert. She's actually Ghana's not long ago, Ghana's nominee to the ICC. She's currently the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, the president there. Patrick K. Champon was under John Kufuor, the IGP of the People's Republic of Ghana, and the former dean of the Faculty of Law at GIMPA and private legal practitioner Ernest Kofi Abochi has been appointed as secretary to this commission. Now, the reference is pretty simple. One, it says they should make full, faithful, and impartial inquiry into the circumstances of and establish the facts leading to the events and associated violence during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election on the 31st day of January 2019. They are to identify any person responsible for or who has been involved in the events associated with violence and injuries. The other function they have is to inquire into any matter which the Commission considers incidental or reasonably related to the causes of the events and the associated violence and injuries involved. Again, they are to submit within 1 month its report to the President, giving reasons for its findings and recommendations, including appropriate sanctions, if any. And that's the statement from the Office of the President, signed by the Director of Communications of that particular office. Early on, we've been hearing more of the commentary from the minority in Ghana's parliament. Of course, that minority has come under massive flack for describing the current member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon, Lydia Sayam Al-Hassan, as a bloody widow. They are standing their ground on the matter, but it looks like the populace seem not to be happy with that particular claim. We will deal with this matter after the break, when we are joined by a crack team from the side of the minority in reaction to the latest development from the presidency of the Republic of Ghana. Of course, we know that they have called for a bipartisan probe in times past. They have also done or demanded action from the executive on this particular matter too. We already know that they joined their member yesterday in a walk 2.23 kilometers to the police headquarters to make a complaint and demand action from them too. After the break, my guest will join me for a conversation on this issue. You welcome back. This is Upfront. My name is Raymond Alka. From now to 7 o'clock, I shall be dealing with this matter to do with the Ayawaso West Wuogon violence. Prior to the start of this conversation, you heard me telling you and reading verbatim the statement from the Office of the President, setting up a three-member commission into the atrocities that has been recorded in that rather peaceful constituency, which until now did not have a single flashpoint noted and discussed in times past. Now, that is the crux of our conversation, because the minority in Ghana's parliament has been very unhappy with this particular action on the ground. They have actually taken steps to try, including avoiding the member of parliament area wanted to get walked out. Long ago, a member of parliament because of a related matter to this conversation, because already I do have a double-barreled representation from that particular caucus in here. The Honorable Dela, you welcome back. This is Upfront. My name is Raymond Alka. So I was trying to give you an understanding of the kind of guests I have today. Now, because this issue, on one hand, is to do with the flag, massive flag, the minority court for calling the member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon bloody widow. And that particular engagement will be addressed here by the former Deputy Gender Minister, the Honorable Dela Soa. And also, when we deal with the commission and its related matters, one man that's been very vociferous on this matter is the man that leads the minority on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee in Parliament, and that is the Honorable, and that we know him, Idris Afuseni in this case. Honorable lady and honorable gentleman, you're welcome.
Thank you. Leon.
I hope you are doing well.
We're fine.
Very well.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Honorable Delaso. Give me a second. But the latest happening is that the President of the Republic of Ghana, the acting president, with the consent of the president, has set up a 3-member commission to deal with this matter. The attempts are pretty clear. Again, they are supposed to present a report in a month. Are you pleased now, since you demanded some form of a committee or so?
Well, thank you so very much, Raymond, for this opportunity to appear on your program upfront to discuss matters of national importance and to say good evening to your viewers. Just when I was making my way here, I saw the release. I have no doubt in the abilities of Emily Schott, my own criminal law lecturer, Herita Mensah-Bonsu, and the former IGP, P.K. Achampong,
who is also a lawyer.
Who is also a lawyer in investigating and unraveling the matters or issues surrounding the violence that we witnessed in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency on the 31st day of January 2019. Indeed, Ernest Abuchi has been designated as the secretary to the committee, and the committee has been given 1 month. The terms of reference are pretty clear to identify what led to that, the violence, persons behind the violence, matters that are incidental to the terms of reference, and also to recommend sanctions, if possible. Make recommendations and possible sanctions against persons who have been so identified. So we'll be waiting with bated breath to see how they do their work. But it's some way, I mean, we've gone some way into being, our demands being met by government in establishing a committee of inquiry to look into the matter. Initially, when we raised the matter, persons speaking for government said that an investigation was not necessary. We are somehow pleased that government has seen that an investigation into this matter is necessary, and because of the outstanding, if you want, the violence that we have never witnessed before in the Ayawaso constituency, that marred the beauty of an otherwise peaceful elections that was to go on in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. And for us, I think that clearly this egregious invasion of the rights and liberties of persons in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency by persons who were otherwise marked and persons who were otherwise not entitled to be there to visit such levels of violence on an otherwise peaceful constituency requires an investigation. So we are pleased.
You welcome the decision.
We welcome it.
I think I heard the spokesperson on Interior and Defense saying that they want a bipartisan committee.
We had said that this issue is a matter of national importance. The Constitution, the standing orders of Parliament mandates Parliament to, when in the view of Parliament, a matter concerning matters of state or matters that touch and concern issues of national importance, Parliament can by itself set up a bipartisan committee to investigate into the same. Indeed, we had drafted the terms of the motion, and we had penciled it down as either a half-hour motion or a full motion that will require debate and a resolution. I am yet to confirm with my Minority Chief Whip whether or not the motion has been filed, but we drafted the motion.
You still go ahead with that?
Now that the committee has been set, we need to look at whether or not we are satisfied with the terms of reference. If we are to file a motion, the only difference will be the terms of reference. What will we be seeking to unravel? Will the terms of reference that has been spelled out as the terms of reference of the committee of inquiry set up by His Excellency the Vice President meet our legitimate expectation in unraveling these issues?
Doesn't it?
Well, that's why I'm saying that this is a matter of collective decision, and Parliament will have to debate that. To
your mind, does it meet it?
To my mind, fair is fair and good. Now it's good. I mean, something is being done. I've looked at the terms of reference. So far, I think it meets my as an individual, my expectation that if they really interrogate the issues set out in the terms of reference, they will cover to a substantial detail the matters that has been agitating our minds all over.
Is this too little, too late?
Well, it's not too little, too late. Better late than never. I mean, these issues of brutalities that were visited on unsuspecting people in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency will not go away. In fact, they are an invasion of the fundamental rights and liberties of the persons who were visited with such levels of harm. And so it won't go away. We might also want to see whether the committee will recommend compensation to be paid to these persons.
Is it part of its terms of reference?
Recommendations.
Because I saw sanctions.
Recommendations.
We're supposed to give recommendations,
including sanctions. So
yes.
It's an inclusive thing. So recommendations might include compensation payments. So we're here to say.
Okay, I'll come to you, the Honorable Delasoa, but let me stay a bit longer with the Honorable Inusaf Seni. Now, the minority was clear in its mind that this government was not committed to getting to the bottom of the matter. Indeed, I have heard some members say this is a state-sponsored attack on Ghanaians in some form. How have your minds changed?
Our minds have not changed.
Mindful of what has happened?
No. The government clearly was not interested. The government spokesman had come out to say that an investigation was not necessary in the matter. The Deputy Minister of Information has said that openly, that an investigation was not required in this matter.
Was he speaking in his own capacity or was
he was speaking in his capacity as a Deputy Minister of State?
And representing the views of the executive, which is clearly alien to what has happened now.
What do you expect?
What you said then is different from what has happened now.
Clearly. So it means that there has been a shift. And we're not surprised.
Could it have been that he was expressing his opinion?
No, he could not have been expressing his opinion. I mean, how can you think that a Deputy Minister of Information can be expressing his opinion on a matter of such national importance?
If I call you here, you might be speaking to me in your capacity as Member of Parliament. You could equally be speaking to me in your capacity as somebody with the committee that you serve on. Isn't it so?
I say that the Deputy Minister of Information spoke to the people of Ghana in his capacity as Deputy Minister of Information.
And he said that the People's Republic of Ghana was not in any way going to deal with this matter the way you wanted it.
He said it was totally unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yes.
Now, let me get to this point too. We know that there's a commission of inquiry that's supposed to function. It's unclear what your reaction will be as when you meet as a minority caucus, which actually commence some actions in this direction. I asked about whether or not you believe this shows that this government is committed to unraveling the circumstances surrounding the issue and dealing with it in an expeditious manner.
You might not appreciate the pressure that this government has been under.
From the minority?
From minority, from the international community, from NGOs. From
international community?
Yes.
Which specific groups?
The UNDP condemned.
Yeah. But really, I'm just wondering.
So they condemned the violence, the level of violence. You don't know how many people, which embassies have spoken to the executive on this matter. You don't know.
Okay.
You don't know.
But are you stating for a fact, or you are thinking it should happen?
I'm thinking.
Do you know that for a fact?
I don't know that for a fact, but I think that it happened.
Okay.
Because what happened in Ayawaso also reverses the democratic gains. Then people are definitely concerned.
Yeah,
okay.
But there are a list of them that have happened in times past.
No one is seeking to justify.
Yes, but nobody is seeking to do
because
so.
if you go
say that it reverses democratic gains. You are seeking to say that a single incident can reverse our gains.
If you go that way, I will tell you, as a matter of fact, that never in the history of this country have we seen the institutionalization of political vigilantism. It has always been political.
And you have the opinion this is?
Yes, this is.
Even before a committee goes and determines that this is the case.
That's our position. This is.
Okay, all right. I'll get you.
Yes.
Now, the president issued a statement congratulating the MP-elect, proceeding to say that pockets of violence. Mindful of what is going to happen now, do you think that the magnitude the president saw of this incident was really the way it's supposed to be, or he was ill-informed at that time?
Well, I will not know who informed the president. I just hope that the president appreciated the magnitude of the problem the way the minority saw it. And that it was so huge.
Did he?
It was so huge. I mean, he issued a statement.
I mean, so he made it look like it's isolated.
The devil himself has no capacity to know what is in the mind of another person.
I get your point, but I'm saying that it was, to all intents and purposes, something that did not require much attention.
Really?
It was not the focus of his statement. I'm talking about for the president.
Yes.
What was the focus of statement?
Yes.
His focus was congratulating them
Yes.
and saying that she won an emphatic victory in that particular area.
Yes.
Then dropping a line on the violence there.
Yeah.
And saying that isolated incident.
We were interested in the line over there, and we thought that the line was more important than the prior victory that he had won.
But I'm asking you whether I think this is a U-turn.
Well, it's not a U-turn on behalf of the president, because I had never heard the president say that he was not interested in investigating the matter.
Yes, very much so.
So it cannot be a U-turn.
But could it also be in that the way the president saw it was not the way the issue was really the case, because now the decision is taken by the vice president. He says he consulted the president in this particular decision. Does it matter?
It matters.
Really?
He is the acting president. The president is out of jurisdiction. He's taking the opportunity of the absence of the president to consult him and also to set up a committee. I think it matters. And he set up the committee in his capacity as acting president. And so it matters.
Truth be told, does it require a committee?
It does.
Really?
It does.
I mean, we saw the people who committed what you consider to be the crime.
Yes.
The person who sent them has come out boldly to say that I did.
Yes.
Why do we need an inquiry to go into this?
So how do we get the people? We just go around arresting them?
No, we just ask the person who sent them.
To come and tell us why he sent them?
No, to specific people he sent. If he
There
deemed them to have done wrong.
On what basis did he send them? What was the... I mean, they said...
But he has explained all of those. This is not unknown to all of us.
He explained those to what? I mean, I never heard him.
I mean, just over the weekend...
And his explanation is not... I won't take it as an official position.
Really?
Yes,
the Minister of State tells you something.
Just like you have questioned the capacity of a deputy minister.
But the man is acting as the man who did the deployment. The man who says that these are our people. We deploy them for a purpose. In fact, he proceeded to say that the deployment will continue.
Well, he is also the subject matter of investigation. He will be a subject matter of investigation by the committee.
Is it not in the statement?
No. Why they will have to investigate?
Yes.
And Elizabeth has given statements to the effect that he mobilized and deployed the people. He needs to give a statement.
From the benefit of doubt, do you think that the minority rushed?
We never rushed.
Was in a haste to take the kind of actions you've taken so far?
To do what?
To take the kind of actions.
When people were shot? When do you consider a decision of the minority to raise an issue of this importance a hasty decision?
Anyway, there would have been a committee to investigate it anyway.
No, well, you will never know. You will never know whether it was the prompting and the condemnation, the disgust shown by the minority as regards what happened in Ayawaso, West Wuogon constituency, that motivated, moved, or prompted the vice president to set up the committee. You will never know.
There's been a lot of issues in this country that the minority has complained about. But the government just moved on smoothly.
But this particular issue, the government could not move on smoothly. Yeah, it had to do something. And so we're waiting for the outcome of the report. Will
the minority and maybe representation from your group be at the committee?
If we are invited.
You are waiting for invitation?
Yes, because it's a committee to investigate.
You are presented
yes.
to the IGP.
Yes.
You have actually met other state institutions and created the impression that you have some ample evidence that will show that the atrocities were organized in the form that you think was unlawful.
Yes.
Are you not willingly going to subject similar evidence to the commission of inquiry set up to do this job and help you get to the bottom of the matter?
But the minority is saying on your platform, up front, that they'll be willing and able to assist the committee in this investigation.
Okay, now let's get to the bottom of all of these. The evidence you said you had, what was really it about? What was it about? You
didn't see some George being slapped?
Oh yes, we saw all of that.
But you
can't present evidence that we all know to the, what they call it, commission
but
anyway.
So the evidence, the investigation is what was the man doing there? Who brought him there?
Which one?
The one who slapped Sam George.
That would be the inquiry.
I
was of the opinion that you had something extraordinary beyond what we all saw in the tapes.
Was that not extraordinary?
Oh, the tapes that we had?
Yeah.
We showed the tape. I mean, I'm sure that the minority
Raymond, what is ordinary in the tapes that you saw? Everything in the tapes was extraordinary.
No, I'm saying that when you say that you have gathered evidence,
police vehicle.
Well, no, I saw that. All of that is out there.
You think that's an ordinary thing?
The committee doesn't need
When was the last time you saw such a vehicle?
The committee doesn't need your scrutiny to actually access that tape. The tape is out there. We can give them.
Well, we are willing and able.
I'm seeking to find out from you.
Yes.
Whether you have something beyond what is shown to the public already.
But why don't you give us the opportunity, to meet the committee and give them whatever we want to give them?
Will the Honorable Sam George appear before this committee?
If he's so invited.
Minority is willing to cooperate with this committee?
If we are invited.
If you are invited.
Yes.
I mean, you stress this point to make it look like it will not
It's a committee.
Yeah.
So the committee will invite you to assist them in investigation.
I get
no
your
one
point.
can be a busybody.
Okay, I get
Yes,
your point
yes,
too.
yes, yes.
Now, I'll come to the main incident, but just yesterday, it looks like the scales tipped in the favor of the member of parliament for the area when some members of the minority tagged her and they were holding some papers. The papers had, in fact, some had inverted the paper. The papers had bloody widow on it. On hindsight, and mindful of the kind of reception you've received from this comment,
which reception?
Oh, you are not aware?
No, because I mean, it depends.
Social media flag.
And there's a massive social media support.
Oh, that's in the minority at least.
So that one is also in the majority.
I'm talking about the people who are opposed to it. There are more than the people who are not opposed to it.
The people who are opposed to it, who are in support of it, in my view, are many people.
Really?
Much more than
How
those
do you determine that?
You are now determining.
Social media
you are also saying this. I'm also saying this.
So you don't feel it was a bad decision?
I don't think
so. You are
a
former deputy gender minister.
Yes.
A woman.
Yes.
We have had difficulties to get women into political elected
positions. We
positions.
are not against women being elected, no.
I mean,
but we are against women being elected at the background of violence. People's lives have been maimed. People are in hospital. For you to come into parliament.
Was there violence in parliament?
I think I'm here for.
Was there violence in Chirpone?
I'm here for Ayawaso West. Please.
Were you a minister at the time that there was violence in Chirpone?
Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
Let's stick to the issue
as it is
now.
See, I am questioning why you'll be interested in saying that there's nothing wrong with this decision.
When
you were in this country, probably in a ministerial position,
when things like this happen and then we kind of defend it at all costs, it's very, very unfortunate.
No,
I think people like yourself in this position.
I don't think that there's a
people
difference.
like yourself in this position
what is being questioned now?
To be unraveling the violence, condemning it.
I get you, and that's
if people in your position
that has been done in several quarters.
To sort of like play it as if it was wrong.
Honorable, what we are talking about is not about the violence.
It's unfortunate.
What we're talking about is not about the violence. What we are talking about today is the description of a woman.
What led to that?
That's
we are not describing a woman, a widow, and saying widows are this. We are saying we are saying that this one came on the back of violence. Everything done there, the men released there, was done to favor her. Period.
So she becomes the bloody one.
She herself, after her victory, made a statement. When she was asked if you hadn't won, what would have happened? She said it would have been a tsunami. Let's condemn where we have to condemn, and don't let's just support everything blindly.
Sorry, what's the basis for condemning her in this case? That she actively was involved in the decision to send people to go and destabilize specifically the violation place? Is that what you're saying?
You know, if this had happened the other way around, I'm sure upfront.
If it had happened in Chirpone or Talensi.
If NDC were in government,
yes,
and this had gone on in the by-election in Ayawaso, I'm sure you would have been up in arms.
I don't get the point.
You would have been up in arms. You would have called. Look, we've had West names. We've had presidents in parliament, people holding placards, calling them stealers. We've had it in parliament too.
So that's okay.
Where were you?
It's okay.
No, but where were you?
I have condemned that consistently.
Did you bring them onto your show to really delve into it? No, let's be fair.
Okay. I'm interested in this because this is a gender twist.
You know where.
Because you have been a former deputy gender minister.
Raymond, that's not the issue. When it's wrong, it's wrong.
I agree.
Whether no gender. I looked at the funeral poster of Ejaku and even the brochure. I didn't see Lydia Al-Hassan. I saw widow Josephine Ejaku. That's what I saw.
So why was she called the bloody widow?
So you have to now tell me why.
Oh, it was not in reference to her.
I said you have to tell me.
Sorry, it was not in reference to her.
Now you have to tell me.
No, I'm sorry.
Because I've seen
so many explanations from
I've seen a group.
Are you stating categorically that the bloody widow description was not in reference to the member of parliament for the area?
I said the bloody widow reference was in reference to the bloodshed that had taken place prior to her election.
But not her.
You know, I think that
definitely not her.
If
not her.
No.
If anything,
oh, really?
No, we were not attacking her personally. We have no personal issues to settle with Lydia Larson. No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
But
not at all. We are just saying that Lydia Larson is a product of a bloody process.
Mm-hmm.
That.
But you didn't say bloody Lydia or bloody Al-Hassan. You didn't even say.
Well, Lydia Larson got elected as parliamentary candidate.
Yes.
For Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, as a widow of Ajako.
But you have established she's not a widow.
I haven't established.
But you said that you knew that. Sorry, forgive me.
I just made reference.
There's no inconsistency here.
I made a reference.
There is no inconsistency.
She just said that the widow is not her.
You are trying to import
exactly,
inconsistency.
and I refuse to do that.
Okay, there's no inconsistency. I'm just saying that.
I want to understand this. Yeah.
Lydia, what she's saying.
Yeah.
Is
she's not a widow.
She's giving you evidence
that she's not a widow.
Of an obituary.
I didn't say that.
Of an obituary she saw, in which the widow was not Lydia Larson.
Yes.
I'm just saying that Lydia Larson got elected in the primaries of the MPP in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency as a widow. There are two different things. Now it is
so she got elected as a widow.
As a widow of Ajako.
Really? How is that possible?
Oh.
What was the campaign about?
Raymond, you are the only person who doesn't know that.
I'm surprised.
No, I'm not saying I don't know that. I'm just trying to say that when we have all established that the official proceedings never stated her as a widow.
But the fact is that she got elected. Well, we don't want to put Ajako on trial after. No, don't speak of the dead that way. So no. I'm just saying that.
Would you admit then that the reference, whichever way you impute it, to mean that there was bloody widow involved on the process?
This is a widow. This is a person who presented herself for purposes of being elected as a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the MPP for the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency as the widow of the late Ajako.
She presented herself.
Subsequently,
you're not saying that she is.
She is. I'm not saying she is.
Okay, I get
I've never said she is.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying she is.
Yes.
Now,
so the bloody widow is to the representation, not the actual person being.
Not the actual, because she's not a widow.
Okay.
Oh, okay. She's not a widow. So and then the second thing is, when they went into the primaries, okay. Her constituency witnessed untold levels of violence and harm against people.
Yeah, at the same time that she went into the primaries.
Yes, at the same time.
But I have not linked her to those in any way.
No, in the primaries there was no violence.
Okay.
In the primaries, the son of the former president even stepped down.
I get you.
By reason of the fact that she was contesting.
I get your point.
Okay. Now, Honorable Ajako begot children with the Lydia.
Yeah.
Okay, Lydia is a woman. No one quarrels with her status as a woman. She's welcome to Parliament as a woman. And she's our colleague in Parliament as a woman.
Okay.
But Lydia Larson is a product of a process that was bloody. Yes. And because it was so bloody and unacceptable, the vice president, acting as president, has set up a committee to investigate that.
I get your point. My only question is to do with the tag of a bloody widow.
It is not
and I
against.
That by now,
it is not against her person.
Further reflection.
No, it is not against her person. You would have known
that. Okay,
you see, people.
I've heard Professor Odrigajepo say it is unfortunate.
Professor Odrigajepo is a communications professor.
She has stated that you got the communication totally wrong.
She's not a standard of communication for Parliament.
Really?
Yeah, no, she's not.
And that was befitting of honourable members to describe.
Yes.
Her as such.
Honourable members of Parliament, in exercise of their inalienable right to freedom of expression, decided to express their views that way.
And you are not mindful of the gender connotations?
There's no gender. You are important gender.
Yes.
So if she
you are
were
not
to be
important
a man,
gender.
what would have been a title?
Widower.
Bloody
widower.
Is that what you have stated?
We have stated that.
That he is a bloody widower. Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
And or we could just say, she bloody woman.
Really?
Or bloody man. Or bloody MP. I mean, we choose to communicate.
Professor Kweku Asare say that it is
Professor Kweku answer is not a standard for communications in Parliament.
But at some point in time,
no one is a standard on how members... There's no standard rule devised and designed by people to tell parliamentarians how to communicate.
But they are culturally accepted
There's no culture here. Culturally, I will tell you that leader ought not to have contested elections.
Really?
Yes, culturally, all over. So what do they say to that? There's no culture here. And any imputations of culture is the idiosyncrasies of the person saying so.
Really?
There's no culture here.
So you don't apologize?
For who? For what? What have you done? What have members of parliament done by choosing? Or you don't respect the constitution?
I do.
Tell me.
But I'm also minded that...
Tell me which law did the communication violate?
That you made inappropriate reference to a woman.
Which law?
I don't get you what you mean by which law.
The only time that your freedom of expression is curtailed is when that freedom of expression impacts, touches, breaches some standard of law. Or, for instance, if you say words important hate speech, okay, you will have committed an offense for propagating hate speech.
I get your point,
but this communication is not hate speech.
Let me ask you.
This communication doesn't infringe any of our known laws.
I get you. If you were in her shoes, would you have been excited by this tag?
I wouldn't have contested.
You don't have contested the election?
Culturally.
But that's under the bridge now.
Culturally, I wouldn't have contested.
My question is...
I can't even tell you... I'm
asking a simple
I can't even answer because I wouldn't have done it.
My question is that if you were to be in her shoes, would you have actually been happy with the tag?
If I were in her shoes, I wouldn't have contested. So I can't even imagine what you're saying. Because truthfully, if I were in her shoes, I'd be mourning my late husband. I wouldn't contest.
That's the late husband, right?
I mean, the late whatever.
You're talking about Della.
She said late husband.
No,
yeah, you're talking about me.
Okay. You're talking about herself.
Oh, no, but I mean, this is referencing the points in this case. No, but there are other issues that I need to engage in this particular matter. But so you're going to ignore all of the many calls on you for you to
do what?
Backtrack, apologize.
On what?
On this particular tag you gave the
Unless someone can point to me that I've infringed the law.
So
if it's not a lawful infringement, you have no problems with that.
I have no problem.
So when a president was called stealer,
okay,
what happened?
Was that right?
Let me ask.
Was that right?
What did you do?
No, sorry, but I asked the question.
No,
was that right?
Did they infringe any law?
I'm just asking a simple question.
Were they asked to apologize? Where were all the voices of conscience?
Sorry,
were they there?
Was that right? Would you admit that was wrong?
Well, it's not me to admit. Whoever did it. My admission doesn't change anything.
Do you feel that was wrong?
My feeling doesn't change anything.
No, but Honorable, I'm asking a question that you as a member of parliament representing the constituents, including women, many of them are listening and watching you right now. You think there's nothing wrong with calling a woman who's contested elections because somebody she had children with lost that particular election and there were incidents in that election, a bloody widow? You don't think there's anything wrong with that?
You know, you want to give this whole thing a different twist, which I refuse to go by.
I see.
Nobody is attacking the honorable member.
You say it all the time, but you proceed to say that she's a beneficiary of
we are not attacking.
System.
You proceed
to also say that she actually deserved the tag for it.
So you know what?
Yes.
My point is, as a minority, we took a decision.
Okay, to call her bloody widow.
We looked at what happened.
Yes, and the most appropriate term.
We looked at the incidences, blood everywhere. Even our colleague was slapped.
Okay.
It could be any of us. Seriously. And if we just sit down and then watch this go, I think it's wrong. So I just pray that 2020 when the shoe is on the other leg and things like this happen, your good self will take it very seriously.
I'll condemn it. I'll actually feel
not only condemn it, bring them to the studio.
If they are
bring them to UPfront
for interrogation.
You have to make.
Why not?
They have to be available.
Yes, I get
I had to cancel everything to be here.
I get your point.
Let me state.
Let me get this part. I mean, for example, I am shocked because you are known to be somebody who is mostly not the hawk kind of person. You choose your words carefully. You are, for lack of a better expression, not the kind of person who sounds insulting or denigrating in your commentary. And I've followed you for a very long time. That is why when people hear you defend this, they are worried.
Yes. They're not worried. They're worried because they've misunderstood us.
Really?
You see, in political communication, you choose your
Is that what
tax.
it boils down to?
Yes. You choose your tax carefully. This is political communication. If we had called any other thing, you wouldn't invite us to your studio.
Really?
Yes.
I'd have invited you to talk about the commission set up to do the work.
Well, the commission there was just formed today.
Yes, of course.
Well, you invited me before the committee was established. You see, in political communication, you choose your tax carefully.
I see.
And in choosing our tax, we were not going after her. I mean, we will greet her. I understand even she shares parents with my tribe. We'll accord her the respect.
Okay.
We're just saying that, and in fact, the setting up of the committee will let us review even our position. We left Parliament because we said we wouldn't dignify the swearing in of Lydia Lassan with our presence. We had resolved that until the incidents at Ayawaso West Wuogon were investigated, Lydia Lassan will not have our audience.
Have you changed the stance now?
But today a committee has been set up.
Okay.
So probably that could even change our stance.
I see.
So you see, so we are not in the church, in Parliament.
As in the morals of a state, the values, the respect, mutual. The role people envy and put you as their role models no longer are binding on you. That you do not have any standard of morality or values that you live up to. That's what you're saying.
Is a church.
I'm saying that, but
or
Parliament,
a mosque.
You see, at the fringes of all laws is morality.
Yes, that's
could you call
H-A-L Hart.
Yes.
Or H-L-A Hart.
Yes, Professor Hart's theory.
Theory.
I am saying that I'm expecting that particular statement will impact parliamentarians because we don't only look to you for the law. We also look to you for inspiration and standard of living. Are you saying that it is okay for Ghanaians to repeat and share these words of calling others bloody widows in this republic?
So at the fringes of the West Ayawaso West Wuogon elections is morality. Is it morally right to shoot people, prevent them from exercising their franchise?
That has been established.
As
inappropriate.
So when that election is tainted by that level of violence, the tainting of that election goes with all the products of the election.
If the candidate had won the election, what would
so you see, so the National Security Minister or Minister of State who said, now we're talking about him. Why? Because we condemn the violence. So because we think that if it is indeed true that he did what he said he did, then he would have contributed to tainting the outcome of the elections. Okay, and that is what we condemn.
I get your point.
So I don't know what. So Hart is actually supporting.
Really, that's how you interpret it.
Yes, Hart is actually supporting.
Let me get this point also from you. Now I want to be clear in my mind whether or not if the NDC's candidate Derek
Dilali,
Brimpon had won the election, that tag would have still gone for him.
Well, Derek. You see, that is why we say
that's a question I'm asking. I'm asking for yes or no first.
No, because
if he won, there would have still been. Sorry. If he won, there would have still been violence in the election.
Are you suggesting?
From where? From the same, the marks,
yes,
from the same marks people.
Are you suggesting
No, I'm saying that
this your forum is now a forum for cross-examination.
No, but this question is a very simple question. And
Joy,
I'm asking you
let me answer the question the way I
just go straight
understand
to. No, I just want a yes or no.
No,
if any of you can give it a yes or no, then we can move forward.
No, we can't give a yes or no.
No,
we can't give you a yes or no.
It would have been no.
Yes.
That you would have called him that.
No.
There wouldn't have been bloodshed.
Because he had no capacity to do to engineer the bloodshed.
But he would have still been a beneficiary of it.
No, he wouldn't have been a beneficiary.
Oh, he would have been a victim.
Because
he
would have been a victim.
Yes.
I see. That's how you see it.
Yes.
Now, my final set of questions is to find out whether or not going forward, by the kind of decision the executive are taking today, you are convinced that what happened was not state-sponsored.
No, we are not convinced.
No.
It's too premature.
Really?
Yes.
So the people do it and come and second committee to seek to unravel what's behind it.
Yes. No, you see, there are many actors of state. Some act with legitimate authority. Others act with impunity.
I get you.
Was it an act motivated by impunity?
Legitimate authority.
Or legitimate exercise of state
I've heard
authority.
some members of the NDC say that, listen, the president is to blame for this particular action.
Yes.
By this decision, are you revising the stand?
We're not revising that.
No.
He appointed whoever mobilized the people and deployed them. And actually, Article 58 vests executive authority in him. The executive authority has been defined in Article 295 as the powers with which the government acts.
So it is foreseeable to you that the man will decide to cause chaos, set up a committee to now probe the chaos and get people sanctioned for it.
Well, yes.
But you know
what I'm saying is that
the election that was pretty obvious his team was going to win
What
anyway.
I'm saying is that I'm not saying that the president engineered the attack.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the president appointed the people who masterminded the attack.
Okay.
So
he's ultimately responsible.
That's exactly
is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what we're saying.
But you know, this thing has happened
That's exactly
before.
what we're saying.
This is not the first time.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, not an election.
Yeah.
But people president put in positions of authority have misled him. This is not the first. He himself came out and said it.
So could he have been blamed for being misled too?
So I don't know. I mean, we'll find that out.
Okay. Now, there are other issues that many are talking about connected to all of this. Mindful of what has just happened with the commission and everything, of course, we don't know the outcome yet. Which outcome will be acceptable to you in the minority of Ghana's parliament?
The values have already been stated in the
yes. I've seen the terms of reference.
Impartial, and accurate.
Yes.
No,
so I'm asking you, which
so these are the standards. The whole release has set the standards already. So we will judge and assess the report based on the values that have already been posited.
Okay.
Yes.
If it's fair.
If fair. If it is impartial. If it is accurate. True and accurate reflection of what happened.
And to be fair, you have your own account of what would have been fair,
fairness,
impartial.
No. Fairness is dealing with the issues in such a way as not to tilt the balance.
I get you. But so there's an outcome that may not be acceptable to you.
Well, if it is manifestly biased.
Do you trust the people that have been appointed to do an independent
job? I have no reason to doubt any of them. But they are human beings. But I have no reason to doubt any of them.
Can they be manipulated?
My own professor, who taught me criminal law.
Yes.
How can I doubt her? I have known her integrity and her forthrightness.
Okay.
Emily Short was the Commissioner on Human Rights and Administrative Justice.
Yes. He's dealt in many ways with the Kufuor administration.
He was a bulwark against violations of human rights.
That's true.
And why will I? And we see egregious violations of human rights over there. I'm sure she should be interested.
Okay.
P.K.
Achampo
has worked with the police, has risen to become the IGP.
Yeah.
I see no reason why he would want to cover anybody.
Okay, he was appointed under the Kufuor administration.
I see no reason why he would want to cover anybody. I know him very well. He's a fine gentleman.
Why are you making the reference that all these people were appointed under the Kufuor administration?
I made the reference.
Yeah, you kept saying
no, I
he was appointed.
The IGP.
Yes, I
heard you talk about Emil
because
also.
Maybe in this country, I've seen people say that merely because the government appointed you, you are more likely to be biased towards favoring that government. I've heard it consistently. So I'm asking you whether that will be a stumbling block in believing whether or not these people will do an impartial job.
Well, in fact, everybody is entitled to a fair, balanced view in the performance of their work until they display manifest bias, and we can take them all.
I get your point.
I have no reason, even without them starting to say that they are biased.
Is 1 month an adequate period for the committee to submit its report?
You just said that all the evidence is available. 2 weeks would have even been okay.
2 weeks would have been okay?
Yes.
Is 1 month too much for you?
So they are giving them enough time to do the work. So we expect diligent work from them.
2020, are you now convinced that we are not going to have, as the former presidents have said, some of these people on the ground, because it looks like government doesn't think that's the right thing to do?
I don't think that there's any evidence to convince me that government doesn't think that's the right thing to do.
Really?
It's government that deployed the people in the marks.
Okay.
Yeah. And a committee is established to investigate same. We are yet to know whether there was no government or executive action behind the deployment of those people. And until the report is out, I cannot say that I'm convinced that the government is not in favor.
Does this step also somewhat put into doubt and maybe deem as premature the commentary of the former president talking about the repository of violence and all of that and the connections with the NDC? I'm talking about former President John Dramani Mahama.
Former President Mahama spoke about Article 3 of the Constitution. And
really?
Yes.
He mentioned Article 3.
Oh, you didn't need to mention Article 3.
But because the way you're saying he spoke about Article 3 of the Constitution, it's as if he made direct reference to it.
He spoke about Article 3.
Okay, so forgive me. When he says that the NDC has revolutionary background,
well, that was
entirely with Article 3 too?
That was commentary.
I see.
You see, when former president said that the Constitution vests in everybody the right to defend the Constitution, that Constitution. Okay?
I get you.
And that the right to vote is a constitutional right.
I get you.
And that when people prevent others from voting, they are doing what?
They're actually infringing on their Constitution.
They're subverting the Constitution. And the Article 3 says that when somebody is in the process of subverting the Constitution, what do?
You can prevent that.
You can prevent that.
What has that got to do with a revolutionary background?
So that was commentary.
Being more violent. What has that got to do with it?
So that was commentary.
Was that inappropriate commentary?
No, so to show
was that inappropriate commentary?
It was not inappropriate.
You support that too?
Why don't I support?
Really?
I support everything about the former president.
Really?
Yes.
I'm shocked that you are saying that when a man who's been president of this Republic of Ghana before states categorically that his political party has revolutionary background, can be more violent, that is appropriate.
Well, so it's not appropriate? You think it's not appropriate?
Yes, I believe it is.
What are revolutions about?
But I mean, of course, we know what they are about.
What are they?
Abba, you know that.
No.
But it depends on the revolution you talk about. If it's the French Revolution, if it's the Industrial Revolution, it's actually...
You know what the French Revolution resulted in? You know the Bastille?
Yes.
You know what it did?
I know, but my question
is...
No, sorry.
You're listening.
I'm asking you the question.
I mean, and
this is a very simple question I'm asking you. I don't know why you are throwing back the question to me.
William the Orange and the Revolution?
I get you. I'm saying
you know what they did in Britain?
Were his comments premature?
You've read about the American Revolution?
But were his comments premature?
You know what it did?
You ran away from this one.
It was not premature.
Yeah.
I just told you, problem.
Could he have contributed to this particular, what they call it, formation of a committee and all of that?
Probably. Probably. I don't know.
You'd have to talk to those who
form the committee.
What actually, I don't want to use the word pushed, but what was the decision behind the formation of the committee? We would love to know that. I mean, if you bring them on upfront next week, Wednesday, I'll be delighted to find out what was the rationale behind
the formation of this committee. I've given you last words on this conversation. Going forward, what do you expect to be done, Honorable Delasowa?
You mean by the committee?
Not by the committee, on the political violence that happens, on dealing with vigilantism.
I think it's very unfortunate, and I think as a country it's not good for us at all. There's too much insecurity in Ghana right now.
Too much?
Young girls are getting missing from their homes, not only in the capital, but far away in other regions as well. It's worrying. It's very, very worrying. I mean, you read about so many abductions and stuff like that. And I think as a nation, it's not good for us. Now, you in the media, you have to take the battle to stop it.
Okay.
I mean, but if you also come from one position, as if it's all right when it's on one foot, and it's only wrong when it's on the other foot, then you are also whipping up violence. But if you also come out and condemn it all the time, and not only try to push the opposition into a corner, try to make them look bad, then I'm sure we can deal with this vigilantism. But if not,
I appreciate
that you always will be on, is the minority, they are not doing well what they are saying, then we'll always have it.
Honorable, thank you so much. The Honorable Minister for saying final words before we go.
Well, I think that basically what has happened has jolted all of us into action.
Okay.
We now appreciate what would happen to us if we fail to apply laws of decency in conducting our elections. And clearly, what happened in Ayawaso is condemnable.
I get your point, but forgive me, my time is up, and I need to run off now. Well, folks, that's where we end today's edition of Upfront. My guests have been from the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, the Honorable Delasoa and the Honorable Inu Safuseni. Thank you so much for joining us on this one.